Yeah, y'all know who you are. Tough on the net, soft in person. Cry baby.
Look, I was gonna go easy on this beat, but Nitro's gone, feel the heat.
Nitro.
So now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I hope you guys and girls are in for an interesting little, I wouldn't call it a talk show. I would call this addressing stuff as it needs to be. You know, I kept my cool. I let things slide. Especially when you have one little individual that just wants to keep pop shots on Twitter, wants to say that he's the Roman Reigns, that we must acknowledge him, that we must kiss his ass, that we must bow down to him. You know, it's kind of funny coming from a pedophile that really and truly shouldn't be an e-fetting to begin with. I mean, let's take a look at this, okay? Let's take a look at this on a standpoint that's the truth. And, you know, unlike us over here, we can handle the truth unlike you all, because every time that we express that truth, every time that we speak that truth, boy, you all get like little bitches in a little pod getting your little daggone tampons in a wad. And you see, here's the thing about it is, the truth already came out what you did to KJ and his wife. And you don't think that karma is going to find its way right back to you. In other words, it's like a boomerang. What you do to a person is exactly how you're going to get treated in the end. You need to understand something here. This isn't about a video game when you take personal shots at people's families. This ain't a video game anymore when you want to take pop shots and accuse people of wrongdoings. Wonder who I'm talking to. You see, here's the facts of life that I'm gonna say here on this podcast. The links are in the chat. But here's the thing about this. You want to talk about that you're good with people, that you are trying to live a better life, that unlike us, you know, right? That's your little saying that you pop shot on Twitter about. Let's put this little extravaganza back to its new originality, because let's go back and face it. You know, your company is always about drama. You see, even before then, y'all try to blame me, trying to pinpoint it on me, saying I was drama, which now everybody sees the light, and they pretty much can tell you, anybody that's now know the new CJ knows that I'm not drama. But now let's put it in words that you can understand, or maybe you can actually get a book and read to educate yourselves, because right now you guys are not really educated on a lot of things. And I'm not trying to call somebody stupid. I'm just saying that you guys need to be educated. You guys need to understand that you have a dangerous individual in your chats. That is a pedophile. That is not a good person to add in your feds. That's not saying much. And, you know, there's a lot of things on my mind here that I'm just going to, you know, talk about here. This is not only towards the haters, but there's also another thing that I'm going to talk about here. You see, I just don't get it. And, you know, you guys got a right to comment whatever you guys want to comment. But I just don't get it why these efedders want to put people that is pedophiles in their group, that wants to hang around pedophiles, that wants to be around pedophiles, that literally loves to hang around these pedophiles or these people that literally likes to do things to kids. I just don't understand. What is in your mindset that you think it's okay to have people in there that is pedophiles, for crying out loud? These are people that's in their 30s, their 40s, going after 16-year-olds. I mean, come on, get a brain, get educated or something. I mean, I just don't understand. I mean, you know, the thing is about JTV, they don't allow that shit over there. That's what I respect Kevin Impact for. That's why I respect Ricky Armstrong for, because he don't have that crap in their feds. Now, there's a lot of stuff that I'm going to talk about too. Falsely accusing people without document proof or any sort of proof. It's like you're framing somebody for something they didn't do. And to me, it's childish. And we have the evidence that you are a pedophile. But we showing other people exactly behind the scenes, because I don't feel it right being professional to show it here on air, if that makes sense. So there's one thing I'm going to do, and this is a whole lot of power I'm about ready to send in. I'm going to send in one of my good friends, DJ Chaotic, because I'm going to talk about this issue about companies allowing pedophiles to be in their efeds, that these pedophiles are trying to blame the good guys because they can't take accountability for their actions.
See, this is one thing that I got a code of conduct with for my show, and anybody's show should have this code of conduct. Nobody under the age of 18 should be allowed in efeds, period. That even includes your own kids. If they're under the age of 18, they should not be allowed in efed until they turn a certain age. You shouldn't even allow them in chats, for crying out loud. But a certain group of individuals decided to say, okay, let's invite minors to a chat full of grown-ass adults and wonder why everything is going the way it's going.
Here's the thing that I don't get, DJ. And, you know, if Kevin Impact or Ricky's here, they can put their 2 cents in the chat too. But here's the thing that I don't get with these people. Why do you bring in somebody that is a pedophile that is talking to a 16-year-old? And, you know, here's the problem with that, guys. He was absolutely talking sexual to a 16-year-old in chat. DJ can prove it, matter of fact. And DJ, if you want the floor, the mic's all yours.
Oh, yes, most definitely, because while I was over there, there's chats that's being exposed that kind of been brought to my attention when I was over there. You have this individual pretty much saying sexual and derogatory remarks on a 16-year-old on what he wants to do to her. That ain't no efed chat, if I'm not mistaken. That's literally a pedophile attacking an underage child.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong on this, DJ, but if you are a efed owner, and I'm not talking about an efed owner that allows this, I'm talking about an efed owner that stands up for moral good values.
Mm-hmm.
How can a efed owner prevent such? I wouldn't even call this I would call this pretty much a disease, because a normal human being wouldn't be going after a kid, especially a grown adult. But what I'm trying to say is this. What makes it right, you know, as an efed owner, not only to your roster, but as a leader of your own company, to shut out these kind of people to make your show positive and other shows around you positive?
Here's the first thing that I would do, and I want people to really take notes on this one. Guideline rule 1. If said individual is attacking underage kids in efeding, you are strictly banned, and the message will be relayed to all other efeds in a cordial manner to let them know that this guy should be blacklisted from your company in general. He should no longer be associated to efeding or take part in any shows or run a show if you are associated with that type of thing. Number 2, to the individual that is being targeted, get her as much people that is positive around her to help her in a better limelight. Take all information that's in the chat that was said from the individual and the individual that did it and relay that to the proper authorities. If I'm not mistaken, CJ. All calls associated with the guy that's in question doing it should be blacklisted and excommunicated from all chats. Blocked.
Here's the thing. You know, I may not have kids, DJ, but here's the thing that I'm going to say. I got a niece, and
Same here, nieces, nephews.
she's pretty much around the age of 10 to 16, almost that age limit. And if I saw somebody in the EFED community trying to target her, I would be taking their neck and squeezing the very life out of it because, first of all, I don't like those sick kind of people.
Facts.
Second of all,
Nobody should.
Second of all, I don't like pedophiles in general.
That's a big no-no. That's a huge red flag in EFED, and that should be questioned by all EFED owners.
You see, here's the thing about this channel. You see, I'm not like anybody else. I'm not going to just allow toxic people to just come in. You want to prove that you're positive? Start showing it by your actions. Start showing it on social media. Start showing it elsewhere. Instead of trying to say, you know, fire it back on us saying we're haters, which is lies coming out of your mouth, because that's the only thing you know how to do is lie and cover your lies with lies on top of lies, which eventually those lies are going to be uncovered by the truth, which eventually pretty much you're going to expose your own self because your own stupidity.
Exactly. Nothing but facts there said.
Here's the fact of the word that of that stupidity word. I didn't call nobody stupid. I'm just saying in general that you're going to be causing the exposing of yourselves for your own stupidity. That means your own self. I didn't call nobody stupid here on this podcast.
Sometimes you got to look at yourself in the mirror and question your judgment as to what type of character you're going to portray out here.
In other words, what DJ's trying to say, it's called self-evaluation.
Bingo. So if you could look at yourself in the mirror and evaluate your actions.
Here's a better one. You guys know the rapper Ice Cube. He sings a song that hits this right on the nail. Check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Big facts.
Bingo. Because here's the thing. If you don't check yourself, you're going to wreck yourself and it's going to be bad for your health. Dropping bombs on your moms, screw car alarms. I got that endo. Let the tricks know we got that endo. You know, kind of like that, like Ice Cube. You know, one of my favorites, which is Day Day,
right?
Which is on next Friday or Friday after next. One of the good guys. But going back to this topic here, I'm going to try to keep this short and sweet as possible. Now, DJ gave you his guidelines on how to get rid of these people that are not only haters, but pedophiles. And I'm going to give you my intake. Now, when I give you my intake, get ready because, you know, I'm not going to promise you're going to get mad or not. You know, this is my channel. I say what I want. So
before you do that, CJ, here's a line that I'm going to really say right now before you lay this. It's a line from Biggie. Relax and take notes, ladies and gentlemen. Relax and take notes.
DJ said it best, but I'm going to give you my guidelines on the haters and the pedophiles out here. First of all, if you know that they are a pedophile or a hater and trying to destroy you because they want to make themselves irrelevant, here's the thing that you can tell on how to do that. It's called calling them out on their bullshit. If they respond back, even if it's Twitter or anything else like that, then you know exactly they are a hater and they are trying to cover up this pedophile's tracks. Secondly, I'm going to get out of the way here. how to get rid of a pedophile is this. If you know a pedophile is in your efeds or in your company, you need to do a thing that we call eliminate the problem, which means take them out of the chat, block them, isolate them from the group, even if you have 16-year-olds in your feds. Don't know if anybody does still do that, but I'm just throwing that out there to protect younger kids that are potentially wanting to join the eFed call community. Now, I'm saying this in general. Now, if you, like I said, if you know anybody that is underage that is doing that, and you know if they are talking to a pedophile, eliminate them from the group, block them, be done with them. Don't have any communications whatsoever, because if you do, there is a terminology I'm about ready to bring to the table. It's called guilty by association, which means you may not be doing it, but you're guilty by letting them do it, if that makes sense.
No lies detected there. That's all facts.
So in other words, going back to Ice Cube, jiggity check yourself before you wreck yourself, because these pedos are bad for your health. Pretty much, I'm going to state there. Now, lastly but not least here that I'm going to say is when you eliminate the problem, it's not going to be a fairy tale ending where everything's going to be good. I'm going to be telling you the truth. But here's the facts. If they come in with fake accounts, if they try to do this hatred or any type of bullshit that they encounter, you got YouTube as a source of a problem. So if they come in, you can report those channels. YouTube can get them for YouTube guidelines, whether it be harassment, bullying, whatever the case may be. Even if they have their own channel on there, they can shut that channel down like that. Think about the tool that you're using, even on social media. Because here's the thing that I will tell you guys. The social media, especially YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, whatever the case may be, you guys have the power.
Any social media platform in general that you use.
So you guys have the power. If you see it, take screenshots, post it out, let everybody else know it in the call community, because this is how we're going to stop this from happening. This is how we are going to make sure that these pedos are caught up in the act. And eventually, if it's on social media, there might be a local police or some type of law enforcement agency looking on that social media and bust them in the act of pedophile, which means they're going to jail. And they are going to be registered as a sex offender. So there's that part. Now, going back to the hating part. If they are coming on your YouTube channel and harassing you, making fake accounts, here's what you guys can do. They come in, making fake accounts. Ban them. Report them. Report them for harassment. Report them for bullying. Report them for a fake account. One of those are going to get striked for a guideline strike, which means when that happens, it's not going to be one of those things where, oh, sorry, I didn't know. It's going to be, oh, shit, you're now, talking to YouTube guys over it. You see, you got to be smart on how you use technology, because people are now getting smarter to play your game smarter. So now you can't really make these fake accounts because I'm going to make the game 10 times harder on you. And that's where the game gets a little bit more dangerous, because now when I make the game 10 times harder, now it's harder for you to even act childish. It's harder for you to understand your wrongdoings, because you don't want to own up to the stuff that you did. You try to portray it on others because you don't want to take responsibility for your own actions, deeds, and what we would say, own up to your shit.
In other words, we're going to say this. Consequences has huge results for everything you do in this social media or EFED community.
here's the thing that I'm going to say. DJ brought up a good point, and I'm not going to say that you're wrong, brother, on this. When you have people like this, that is pedophiles, haters, whatever the case may be, when you have them on your YouTube channel, that does not mean bring them back just because you think they deserve a second chance. You see, I've got smarter throughout the years to understand how these people work. They play mind games. They want to see what they can do to try to break you down, to try to destroy you, to try to mentally and physically break you to your barriers where you will quit. That is their game plan. Their game plan ends. Their game plan is over. It is exposed. We played chess to their checkers, and they don't have no more moves on that board to make.
Sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, you got to watch the red flags that they do.
In other words, Kenny Rogers, one of my favorite country music artists, he sings a song. You got to know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em, know when to walk away, and know when to run. So just remember those 4 things that Kenny Rogers here just said. I just said and quoted. Because this is exactly what you got to do. You got to know when to hold them, which means hold them accountable for their actions. Know when to fold them, which means pretty much get rid of them, block them, end them on talking platforms. Know how to walk away, which means don't add them back. Don't walk back to the bullshit that you stepped in. And know how to run away from them, knowing that they don't have no possibility to come back to you because now you're long distance and they can't get a hold of you. Here's what I'm going to tell my friends on YouTube, whether you're efed owners, whether you're car content creators, whatever the case may be here. Think before you post on social media. But also, if you are harassed, bullied, or any sort, any way of whatever the case may be here, be smarter than your enemy. Be positive and kill them with kindness. That's the thing they hate. They want a reaction.
And this is the other thing that I'll say in general. Stay 3 to 4 steps ahead of these individuals.
There's a song that Eminem says, you only get one shot. And that's in that song Venom. You only get one shot. So in other words, you get one shot at this, guys. One shot at being positive or being toxic, which we call negative. You get one shot in life to make choices. One shot. And that's saying something. You don't get it. It's not like you can go on the game system and reset your life back to being a baby. You only get one shot in life. Question is,
check them at the source is what we do.
Question is this. You get one shot in life. What are you going to do to count that as your legacy? Are you going to go down a road full of toxic people, full of pedophiles, full of all these other little negative people that mean nothing to the call community? Are you going to surround yourself with positive people that's going to be there for you, even though when you hang up the boots and retire and you still got friends to hold on to? You have 2 choices. It's simple. Just make the right choice. Because here's the thing that I'm going to tell you before we end the stream, because I'm pretty sure DJ's got his final thoughts on this, because I'm pretty much already going to give you mine. So if DJ wants the floor, he can have it. But here's the thing. Don't stoop to the haters. Shine bright like a diamond and be positive. And if you see that negative bull crap, especially if you're a YouTube content creator, or if you got social media like Twitch, Facebook, block and report them. That's how you silence the haters. That's how you block these pedophiles. That's how you eliminate these pedophiles. Because if the word gets out, I promise you, they will be busted on their deeds. You can't hide. In other words, Johnny Cash, one of my favorite country music artists, has said this. You can run on for a long time. Sooner or later, God's going to cut you down. And boy, when he cuts you down, you're going to go be like a roller coaster. You was up top at one point, but boy, you're going to come down faster than what you came on top. But that's the only thing I got to say for my final thoughts. DJ, you got the floor.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, here's the thing that I'm going to say before everything ends on this note. Sometimes in life, you have to observe somebody before you really see their true intentions. Sometimes you have to read the room to examine everything that's going on. And with that being said, it's like you have to know that everything that they do, there's consequences or repercussions for their actions. And those same consequences that they do, if they keep continuing them, you can see right through their agenda. Whether they're a hater, whether they're a pedophile, whether they're literally doing anything of any negative sort, you have to chin check it at the source. Sometimes watch and observe can be the best thing you have in this efed industry. And with that being said, keep your eyes on the prize and watch what you do in this efed industry. Watch the people you associate around. These efed owners need to know this information. And this information is vital to benefiting your efed and the people that's in your efed. And that's all that has to be said about that.